Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and I welcome all of you back to another Chris Chan Quickie article. This is going to be Chris and his relationship with contests to conclude his entire society saga. Now, for those who need a little bit of an opening to this, is that Chris is a very avid and back in the day and a very, very devoted man to being, in a sense, being somewhat competitive in things that probably came down to the luck of the draw. Yeah, if it came down to like actual contests to actually display levels of skill outside of, let's say, some sort of bizarre karaoke themed sing-song challenge, then well, it's better if Chris was just sort of open to his own devices to do contests of this description. But with that being said, ever since the early 90s, Chris has entered a number of contests. Chris places great weight on his success and failure with regard to promotional contests. He becomes elated and sees victory as an indication of his own greatness when he wins, yet he becomes enraged and lashes out at the losers when he loses. A fairly typical response for somebody like Chris, and what we're about to see will just about conclude all of this. So, the Sonic the Hedgehog Watch and Win Sweepstakes. The Sonic the Hedgehog Watch and Win Sweepstakes was a contest held in '93 to promote the syndicated adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. The contest grand prize, a $1,000 KB Toys shopping spree, was awarded to two lucky winners, one of whom happened to be Chris. This is one of the defining moments of Chris's young life, being the first of many contests Chris has entered over the years. And you know what, considering it's for what they were, I know we've gone over it many, many times before, but it's probably one of the ones that, this is basically the beginnings and the humble genesis of a locale legend. But you know what, I honestly like this video anyway, because it's actually, it's probably one of the more wholesome moments of Chris's life. But, and yeah, I think it's just, it's a good demonstration of who Chris used to be, I suppose.
We've got a little more for you, including what Sonic the Hedgehog means to a very special Charlottesville boy, and the significance goes way beyond a high score in videos. Finally tonight, Sonic the Hedgehog is running wildly in the Chandler household this weekend. 12-year-old Christian Chandler of Charlottesville was the winner in a video game shopping spree. Christian is one of only about 100 winners nationally to receive $1,000 worth of Sega games and equipment. For his parents, it's just another example of how well he's doing. Christian is a high-functioning autistic child. This past fall, on his own initiative, he entered a contest based on a favorite cartoon.
You know, I know this is probably, like, again, something I've never thought of mentioned before, but was it absolutely, like, within the news station's jurisdiction to mention the fact that Chris was autistic or not? I don't. I've never thought about that before, because sometimes, like, when it's done in the UK, it's only ever brought up if it's like necessary to the story. But I suppose maybe, but I don't know. It's
character.
What I had to do was exactly watch Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon, and I'd listen to what Sonic says at the end of it and write it down for a whole week, and then I had to mail it in, and I had to be drawn out of a hat, and I just won.
And Christian's father says it only takes a few hours for him to master.
Yeah, so that's basically all you need to know. And the important things really to know about that entire contest was the fact that Chris seemed to just be fairly nonchalant, maybe because, like, maybe I actually I'm a little bit interested, to be honest, because I'm not entirely sure if I'm not even sure if that happened to me, I was able to take in the fact that I was even going to be on the news for a very short period. But considering what happens later in Chris's life, being on the news is not particularly, you know, a day in the life, if you see my point. The Pokemon Books a Million contest. On the 29th of April 2000, a Pokemon-themed contest, costume contest was held at Books a Million. Chris, who used to come regularly to the store wearing an Ash Ketchum costume, won the first prize. a cool t-shirt. He talked about the contest in A Week with Christian Chandler. The Harvey Birdman commercial. In February of 2005, Cartoon Network held a contest inviting viewers to make a commercial for the Harvey Birdman Attorney at Law Volume 1 DVD set. Chris did not win the contest or even place in the top 5. This inspired him to post a complaint on the Adult Swim forums. Yep, you see, and it begins with this one. This is what decided Chris that if he didn't win automatically, then nobody would. What would you do for a PS3 contest? In November 2006, Chris entered Adult Swim What Would You Do for a PS3 contest. In his entry video, Chris says he'd throw away the cure for autism if he had it. He would trade in his PS2 and would make a PS3 out of pixel blocks and shows off his pixelated PS3. Needless to say, Chris did not win. And by the way, in case you're wondering if Chris really did say he would throw away the cure for autism, well, guess what? There's a video for that as well. So let's, yep, here it is.
Hello, my name is Christian Weston Chandler of Rocketsville, Virginia. What would you do for a PS3? What I would do for a PS3? I tell you what I'd do. Well, if I had the money, I'd wait in line, like all the other people did with their tents and all that good stuff. I'd throw away the cure for autism if I had it, because I want to get rid of that doggone lifelong curse that I've had.
The fact that Chris again just says it like so nonchalantly as though it literally was like the very last thing in the world that would be useless in throwing away, but that's Chris for you. Parappa the Rapper contest. In June 2007, Chris entered the Parappa the Rapper contest, which required contestants to film themselves performing a cappella version of either Chop Chop Master Onion's rap, Instructor Mussolini's rap, or Cheep Cheep the Cooking Chicken's rap. The grand prize winner of the contest will receive 2 PSPs and an all-expenses-paid trip to Seattle for the 2007 Penny Arcade Expo. Chris hoped that he would win, so that he would bestow one of the PSPs to his beloved Megan, and invite her to accompany him on the trip, thereby creating an opportunity for her to give in to her obvious passion for him. Chris's video made it in the top 10, from which the winner was to be selected from a vote by PlayStation Underground members in July 2007. Despite a campaign on the part of Chris, the competition was won by one Adam Stackhouse, who Chris bears a grudge against, as he felt Adam broke the rules, by having music and multiple people in his entry. Chris loathed the second and third place winners for having music as well. In actuality, the beatboxing in Adam's video counts as a cappella. Furthermore, another top 10 finalist claimed that he had removed his own music to avoid breaking the rules, but Sony said it was fine. So, where Chris can't say anything about that now, can he? Relentless voting stuffing did earn Chris a reward, however. The rules state that finalists would get their submissions published on the PlayStation.com and will receive a copy of the game Parappa the Rapper for the PSP systems and some Parappa branded premium items such as a PSP skin, PSP charm, and Parappa signature beanie, roughly about $60. I'm not particularly very interested in the game myself, so I wouldn't really consider doing that. Also, again, for those who've ever seen Chris's entry will know that his style was basically, it had a lot to be desired. And since this article is like not particularly very long anyway, I suppose we can check this out. This was apparently, it got Chris apparently top 10 and wondered why he thought like this was not...
AP Station, my name is Christian Chandler. I live in Rocketsville, Virginia. I have a PSP, I like the rap, I play with the rapper, I go with you now. The only song I know is Master Onion, which I got from a demo I borrowed from my friend Megan. I have the PSP and she don't, so give me the PSP and rap the rapper so I can give one to her, and then we can play it together. So here we go, we're gonna sing it now. Master Onion a la mode. Kick, punch, it's all in the mind. If you want to test me, I'm sure you'll find that you all things that I teach you sure to beat ya. Over the rest of that to listen to the teacher now. Kick, kick, punch, punch, chop, chop. block, block. Once more, kick. Kick. Punch, punch. Chop, chop. And block. Block. Don't get cocky. It's gonna get lucky. We got the airfield. We gotta move down to the sea jockey now. Duck. Duck. Yup. Yup. Turn, turn. And pose. Pose. Now listen carefully. Jump. Jump.
Anyway, whilst we're actually just watching Chris just jump around and these little video effects play for no real reason apart from the fact that Chris just thought adding them was going to make it worth it, there's also this to suggest is that if Chris was generally like not going to learn the actual the lyrics to this, then he may as well just have a sheet of paper with the lyrics written on them in his hand just for reference, because, well, it would have made things a little bit more coherent, and you could have obviously told Chris would not have to like squint his eyes and just bend forward in a very inauspicious manner, whilst also spinning around and just doing whatever the hell Chris does. I suppose that's the only way I could describe half the things that Chris ever does. Is just he just does stuff, I guess. And well, yeah. Chris wondering why he didn't win, and the outrage here that ensued is just something that, even for someone at the tender age of 25, Chris should have known better than to think that, yeah. Radio station contests. Chris created Lil Chris at the Creator Critter Workshop after winning a gift certificate from a radio station sometime in his early 20s. In May 2010, Chris won 4 tickets to an extreme action sports show from a radio calling contest. As he could not find anyone else to go with, even after he called the members of his church's young adult social group, he was forced to scalp the tickets in front of the stadium and then sit alone in the bleachers beside a lovey-dovey couple. This event prompted the Greene County Conspiracy video. GameStop contests. Chris entered the GameStop Beer Star Sweepstakes in October 2008. The competition required entrants to send in a photograph of themselves in a Guitar Hero pose for the chance to win a $400 GameStop gift certificate. Several trolls caught sight of Chris's entry and, mistakenly believing that the person with the most votes would star in Guitar Hero the game, encouraged people to vote for Chris. Due to this, Chris went on to win the competition. This just about says it all here. This image is apparently worth $400. In August 2010, Chris won another GameStop gift card, this time for $50 through participation in a blood drive. Fantastic. Jackass 3D contest. Oh, not this. Yeah, Chris, basically all Chris was that he stuck his bent duck in the snow for 15 minutes. That's all you need to know. And yeah, the Dog Days of Summer photo contest. On the 1st of August 2020, trolls discovered the existence of Clover and Snoopy. Chris decided to take pictures of them and post his photos on the internet in an attempt to gain votes for a contest. In the description he writes, "Snoopy has a hat on his tush." Thank you so much, Chris, for telling us what we can already see. And Clover is looking at the camera. Again. The Beagles were given positive comments, and one person even asked if the dog breeder so they can have one. However, Chris did not win the contest. Yeah, Paddy is betrayed. Damn. Skylanders Creator Contest. On the 17th of November 2016, Chris entered a Skylanders contest. The prize is a 3D print of a custom figure. Chris would use it to 3D print his own Christine Chandler avatar. There would be a grand total of 100 winners, 20 winners from each period. Each winner would receive one code redeemable for a 3D printed model of the character included in the entry. Unfortunately for him, he failed to follow the guidelines set by the contest. According to the rules, the entries were judged on 30% diversity of parts comprising the character, 30% uniqueness, and 40% creativity of accompanying catchphrase. Chris neglected to post a catchphrase for his character. He did not even enter the right category. The Twitter page where he submitted stated that the week's entries were for magic types. However, Chris entered a light type, missing the contest for that type by several days from the contest page. As we can see right here. Undead, light, well, water, undead, light. He tried again a few days later, minutes before the contest deadline, providing a catchphrase and entering under the right category. Thank goodness for Chris for doing that. Best of Seaville 2017. A yearly poll conducted by Seaville Weekly, a Charlottesville VA publication. The poll for 2017 was conducted in 2 stages. One where people could submit their own entries to the poll, and a second where finalists would be chosen by staff for another round of public voting. In May of 2017, Chris was added to the poll under the Best Local Minor Celebrity category. He took to Facebook to announce it and asked his fans to vote for him. Once it was discovered that anyone viewing the poll could add entries and that people could vote simply multiple times by clearing cookies or opening a private browser session, shenanigans ensued. Yeah, this whole entry thing seemed more like a very slightly better organized version of Wikipedia than something to actually submit and enter for. With joke entries based on Chris getting stuffed in the poll, Chris took the lead for a time. However, the joke entries quickly grew out of control, and Chris tried to run damage control, saying to not add... I swear to God, there's like no time of the day where the people just don't run a chainsaw outside my house. Okay, sorry about that. To not add my name or any other similar versions of under any other category. I am not a place or event, and I have not been on television recently. Ultimately, the Seaville Weekly staff took notice and deleted the Chris references from the poll. Annoyed, Chris complained on Facebook, posting, "I did not make the finals. Thanks a lump for overvoting me out, you trolling stupids." That told him. Chris holds his own contest. On the 29th of January 2024, Chris posted on Twitter announcing his own contest for artists and fanfic authors, with his own set of rules and submission guidelines. Winners were promised a Sonichu medallion and a set of autographed Prince Sonichu comics from 0 to 3. So Chris doesn't even give out more than like 4 issues anymore. It's literally just from 0 to 3, and I wonder if this is just because Chris couldn't afford or learning from previous mistakes when he tried to send off multiple versions of his comics that he couldn't afford to print. But yeah, I've talked about this previously, and one thing you probably might be interested in knowing is the fact that getting Chris to judge art is not a good idea, and the fact that so many people were willing to submit art to this contest for Chris to judge, well, I've talked about this before, and it didn't really seem worth the effort. Nice though a lot of the artwork was, the context of why it was made and what it was made for and who was going to be judging it, yeah, I probably would have like stayed away for my tastes. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was all she wrote when it came to contests. I think the most interesting part of all this is the zenith that Chris will enter contests, but will, whenever it's just about all you have to do is ring up or just submit an entry, like it's about as useful as playing the lottery to Chris, and quite a lot of these contests are, outside of the things where he actually had to display some level of like effort or skill, and that is, he will do as much as he feels it's necessary within his power. Not necessarily because any more effort would have been too much for Chris to handle, though that's absolutely the case there, but it's also the fact that just, well, in Chris's mind, he thinks that's all it needs to take for him to win, which, well, it isn't. You know that, I know that, but, well, some things never change. And, well, there you go. And with all that being said and done, I hope you guys have enjoyed this article, and I cannot wait to talk to you guys again in the next video. Take care, and bye-bye for now.